The bell above the door jingled as Lily stepped into the coziness of the corner café, where the scent of freshly brewed coffee mingled with the warm aroma of cinnamon rolls. She wiped her hands on her apron, taking a brief moment to peer into the café's front window, where droplets of late afternoon rain painted the world in shades of gray. The café was her safe haven, a small but vibrant corner of her life where she could momentarily forget the weight of overdue bills piling up on her kitchen table. At 28, it felt like time had trapped her in an unyielding cycle of toil. From morning till night, she served coffee and pancakes, smiled at strangers, and wiped down tables with a diligence that stemmed from necessity rather than passion. She loved the rhythm of the place, the steady hum of conversation, the laughter of regulars, but as the youngest of the staff, she often found herself juggling a chaotic schedule. Each shift was a reminder of her financial troubles, a dark cloud that loomed over her dreams of a future far more fulfilling than her current reality. Despite the burdens she carried, Lily held tightly to her values. She had quickly learned that kindness was a currency more valuable than any tip. "Everyone has a story," she would often tell her friend Sarah, who worked the counter next to her. In every interaction that day, a grace lingered in her heart, a reminder to look beyond the visible scars life left on people. She believed that small acts of kindness could build bridges between souls who might otherwise remain strangers. That day, the café had a quieter pace than usual, with patrons huddled in groups, whispering and laughing, unaware of the struggle simmering in the back of the café. As she took orders and delivered food, her gaze often drifted to the corner booth where Mr. Fletcher sat alone, his silver hair catching the soft light of the overhead lamp. He was a figure who blended into the fabric of the café, having frequented it daily years. A retired teacher with a voice that still held the authority of a classroom, he'd spend hours sipping tea and reading, often glancing up from his book to exchange a warm smile with Lily. Today, as she approached him with a fresh cup of chamomile tea, she noticed a wrinkle of concern nestled between his brows. "Good afternoon, Mr. Fletcher," she greeted, stifling a yawn that tugged at her. "How's your day going?" He looked up, eyes softening upon seeing her. "Better now that I see you, my dear. Life has its ways of testing our spirits, doesn't it?" he remarked, voice laced with gentle understanding. A twinge of sadness played at the corners of his mouth, and Lily knew he had lost his wife a few months prior. His loss resonated with her own feelings of being trapped in a cycle of toil, though hers was born from a struggle to keep afloat rather than the deep emotional swell of grief. As they chatted, she couldn't help notice how he meticulously examined the worn leather-bound notebook lying beside him. He had taken to journaling after his loss, a means of processing life's later chapters. Today, however, he seemed less focused on his writing. Instead, he scrutinized her, as if weighing the right words to share with her. "Lily, could you do me a favor? When you have a moment, could you retrieve a small box from under the counter? It is rather special to me, and you might appreciate its contents," he advised, an earnest look in his eyes. Curiosity wove its way through her. "Of course. I'll be right back." She hurried to the counter, the wood cool beneath her fingertips as she pulled out the small, ornate box adorned with intricate silver designs. Carrying it back to his table, she found Mr. Fletcher gazing out the window, lost in thought. Upon placing the box in front of him, he hesitated, his hand resting over it for a moment, drawing a breath. "You see, dear, I've been thinking a lot about how fleeting life can be," he began, his voice thick with an. "These days, it seems I'm surrounded by reminders of those I've lost. But I have so much to give, and it strikes me that even a man like me can still make an impact, even with the remnants of what was left behind." He opened the box slowly, revealing a collection of old coins and handwritten notes, each one a snippet of his life's journey. "You might think these insignificant, but they hold stories of love, laughter, and life lessons. I want you to have them, Lily. I know you've been working so hard, and I want you to have a little something to remind you to keep going." Lily's heart skipped a beat. "Mr. Fletcher, I can't possibly accept this," she protested, her palms running over the edges of the box, feeling the warmth of his kindness radiating from within it. "Please, child. You deserve to have a bit of joy. You give so much of yourself. It's your turn to receive," he implored. In that moment, with the rain pattering against the glass and the world outside fading away, Lily felt the weight of her troubles lift, if only just a little. This simple act of kindness, a gesture so heartfelt and genuine, gave her a sliver of hope. It ignited a flicker of warmth in the cold shadow of hardship she had carried for so long, urging her to recognize that sometimes, kindness could forge connections that transformed more than just moments, it could change the very course of lives. With trembling hands, she accepted the box, knowing deep down that Mr. Fletcher's final act of kindness was not merely about these trinkets, but a bridge towards something more, a potential shift in her path, and perhaps, a guiding light in the darkness that had loomed. As their eyes met, a bond was woven, a gentle reminder that in this café, love and kindness could blossom even in the most unexpected places. Lily clutched the beautifully ornate box to her chest, feeling the weight of Mr. Fletcher's kindness, as if its mere presence was weaving resilience into her very skin. Each glimmered in the low light of the café, a tiny universe of stories just waiting to be explored. The tremor in her hands betrayed the tempest of emotions swirling inside her, a mix of gratitude and disbelief. After all, though the moment itself felt ethereal, she knew that life would soon bring back its grueling reality upon stepping outside those diner doors. That evening, after her shift, Lily embarked on a journey of introspection. As she walked home, the rain held its gaze on the pavement, reflecting the twinkling lights that adorned the small town street. She thought of Mr. Fletcher with deep appreciation. What he taught her wasn't simply about the coins he'd shared, it was about the willingness to see the value in others, the potential for generosity that lay dormant in many hearts. That night, she tucked the box beneath her modest bed, promising herself to take out a coin each day, not just as a reminder of Mr. Fletcher's kindness, but as an anchor to her own dreams. The very next day, buoyed by these newfound resolves, she decided to extend kindness to others in her cafe community in small ways. On her break, she used part of her modest earnings that week to buy coffee for the barista at the local coffee shop, Café Starlight, a place she admired for its art and creativity. It was a little act, but she saw the look of surprise on the barista's face, a reflection of the warmth between kindred spirits who understood each other's struggles. Word of her small act trickled through the town, slowly creating a ripple effect. Customers began to pay it forward, leaving larger tips and offering to cover the bill for others without expecting anything in return. That day at Rose's Diner, it felt like customers suddenly became more than patrons. Each interaction became an opportunity to share and uplift, conversations blossomed, laughter rang like chimes, hearts softened, and for the first time in a long while, the atmosphere buzzed with hope. One of the regulars, a middle-aged man named Ned, brought in a homemade blueberry pie for her, insisting it was a gesture of thanks for the kindness she had shown when he saw her struggling with a table full of families earlier in the week. Taking the pie home, Lily relished its sweet warmth as she shared slices with her neighbors, using it as a way to bond over a meal while finding moments of shared laughter amid their own battles. Each forkful she savored felt like an encompassing embrace rather than a simple dessert. Over the following weeks, the kindness rippling through the town caused unforeseen transformations. A series of smaller miracles began to shift the atmosphere of her life, creating a tapestry woven from newfound connections and empathy. Regulars at the diner became friends, sharing not only meals but also parts of their lives, together navigating the ebbs and flows of challenges. Then came the evening that altered everything. The diner, bustling with life and laughter, brought in morers than it had in months. Among them was Clara, a newcomer to town, who immediately struck up a conversation with Lily as she dished out her nightly specials. Clara exuded a confident warmth, and a deep-rooted sense of purpose that intrigued Lily. As they chatted over cups of steaming coffee, Clara shared her journey of launching a small community project aimed at providing skill-building workshops for employees in town. "It's amazing how people light up when they're given a chance to learn something new," she enthused, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "I think we could help many people become more financially stable if we just give them the opportunity." In that moment, an idea ignited in Lily's heart. "I'd love to help with that," she said, the words tumbling from her lips almost unconsciously. "I may not have degrees or fancy titles, but I understand what it means to struggle. I know things like cooking and serving, but I'd love to teach others the art of hospitality." S face lit up with excitement. "That would be incredible. We could host workshops right here at the diner. Imagine it, a gathering where we all share what we know, while also building connections in our community." It was as if the universe had conspired to create a runway for both their dreams. Instantly, the idea of teaching blossomed into an exhilarating vision where possibility flitted through the air, vibrant and alive. In the following weeks, they managed to garner support. Clara connected them with various local organizations that had funding available for community projects, and Lily became an integral part of the initiative. As they advertised the Hospitality and Empowerment Workshop, still reeling from the high of creative collaboration, they received more inquiries than they anticipated. By the end of that first month, they had filled all 70 spots available, a mix of young adults and single parents looking for guidance. Lily couldn't contain her delicacy as she stood at the front of the diner on that first-class day, surrounded by eager learners waiting to share their own stories while taking away valuable skills and knowledge. "Thank you all for joining," she said, her heart pounding. "Together, we're going to learn from each other. This is a chance for us to grow, to transform our lives and shape our futures." The news of the workshop spread like wildfire. Each session attracted more participants and brought fresh life into the diner, revitalizing a sense of camaraderie among those who once felt isolated in their struggles. Meanwhile, Clara began cultivating connections with local businesses that wanted to sponsor the next set of workshops. It wasn't merely about changing skill sets anymore, it was a community reborn. 1 month later, just as they were preparing for the next set of classes, Clara received an unexpected email that left her astounded and overwhelmed with opportunity. The local government had selected their project to receive a grant of $10,000 to expand the workshops. It would allow them to include childcare services and transportation for those participants who needed assistance getting to the diner, a chance to provide opportunities where none existed before. Lily recalled the weight of Mr. Fletcher's box and how far-reaching kindness could extend, and she silently thanked him in her heart. She had felt it taking root within her, cultivating hope where despair had gripped tightly before. As the sun sank behind the diner that autumn evening, the sky turned hues of gold, and a sense of fulfillment filled her spirit more than any amount of money could. The diner's warmth enveloped her as laughter drifted through the air. "This is just the beginning," she told Clara, her eyes sparkling with unmistakable determination. "We're building a path for change, and there's so much more to come." In the weeks that followed, those warm connections and newfound opportunities began to flourish even more. The ripple effect continued to flow, reaching people in meaningful ways. This initiative breathed life into others' dreams, inspiring budding chefs, single parents eager for work, and even those struggling to find their identity within the bustle of small-town life. Little did she know, one of her students, a single dad learning about hospitality, would go on to land a position at a local hotel, managing events and bringing his newfound confidence to life while earning a significant increase in income, beyond what he had ever imagined. The gratitude reflected in his smile, the way his eyes lit up as he recounted his story at a workshop session made Lily's heart swell. "You see," he said, his voice choked with emotion, "I never thought something like this was possible for me." Another woman in the class launched her catering business just weeks later, transforming her passion for cooking into financial stability for her and her children. Each connection breathed yet another layer of kindness. Their stories began to intertwine like threads in a quilt, each person becoming part of a greater tapestry of resilience. What once felt like a weathered diner transformed into a sanctuary, a support system for all who entered. As Lily wiped down the final table that day, she realized she had not only found purpose within her own heart, but through the act of sharing kindness, she had helped others discover their strengths, and that alone was worth more than any financial surplus. However, when her paycheck came in the following week, she was stunned to find an unexpected bonus included, a one-time financial reward of $1,200 for her efforts at the diner, intended to acknowledge the enriching environment she had helped create alongside Clara. Staring incredulously at the paper, she chuckled, her heart dancing with joy. Perhaps this was a sign from the universe that the well of kindness yawned into immeasurable opportunities, affording her a clearer path to pursue Hiram's, paying off that nagging student loan or pursuing that cooking class she'd once yearned to enroll in. Looking down at the radiant coin box, she resolved to invest the bonus in herself, not just to alleviate the financial weight on her shoulders but to ignite the flame of possibility inside her once more. Perhaps the path forward wouldn't just bring growth to others but also carve space for her own dreams too, a dual journey of blossoming hope for everyone involved. That night, as she lay in bed, echoing laughter still ringing sweet in her ears, she closed her eyes holding onto the boundary between warmth and beauty. In that very moment, she felt gratitude envelop her tenderly as she swore she could see the gentle flicker of hope illuminating far beyond the vortex of challenges, beckoning her into a future crafted from kindness, one that promised not just transformation for others, but transformation for herself too. As the autumn breezes faded into winter, the corner café glowed with an effervescent warmth. Inside, laughter and the aroma of freshly baked goods filled the air, blending seamlessly with the soft melodies strumming from an old radio in the corner. It was here, in this little haven, that Lily found her true self emerging, nurtured by kindness and the friendships she had sown. With the grants supporting their community workshops, Clara and Lily dove headfirst into planning a series of classes on everything from baking to budgeting. Each Saturday, the diner transformed into a buzzing hub of inspiration, where children learned to mix batter alongside their parents, and young adults practiced interviewing techniques behind the counter. The growth they witnessed was not merely financial, it was profound. People were discovering their voices while forming unbreakable bonds. Lily had taken her newfound financial boost and signed up for culinary classes at a local community college. She was ecstatic each time she returned home, mouthfuls of knowledging forth about flavors and techniques. She cherished the time spent learning, no longer just drifting through life, but stepping into her dreams with purpose. "Lily, I heard the news," Clara exclaimed as she breezed into the cafe one chilly afternoon, her cheeks rosy from the brisk air. She was almost bouncing with excitement. "What news?" Lily asked, wiping her hands on her apron, a mixture of flour dusted across her clothing. "There's an upcoming local food festival, and they want vendors." Clara's eyes gleamed. "We should apply. Just think, our signature dishes, smiles, and all that warmth from our workshops poured into it. We could be the highlight of the festival." A wistful smile crept across Lily's face. The thought filled her with both exhilaration and trepidation. Can we really do it? I mean, I love the idea, but what if no one shows up? Have you seen the buzz around our classes? Clara responded, her enthusiasm infectious. People want this. You've changed lives, Eiley. They want to experience that joy through your food. We can collaborate, and there's strength in numbers. Let's embrace the risk together. Bolstered by Clara's encouragement, they spent the next few evenings brainstorming their menu, deciding on savory and sweet offerings that reflected the diverse talents of their workshop participants. Lily felt a ripple of purpose washing over her as she realized just how much they were creating, driven by the belief that simple acts of kindness could cultivate a world of flavor and connection. That sentiment anchored growing roots across the cafe. The day of the food festival arrived, marked by excitement in the air. Their booth dazzled with colors, a colorful banner reading, "Hospitality and Heart," hung above an array of delectable samples. People swarmed, drawn by the aroma of baked goods and simmering dishes wafting through the warm autumn air. Laughter mingled with sizzling sounds as familiar faces from their community workshop flowed them, buoyed by anticipation. "I'm so proud of you, Lily," Clara murmured, stepping aside to serve a customer who was already inside their booth, salad barcumin dressed with hints of spices. "Together, this is all of us, we're a community," Lily replied, her heart fluttering at the shared connection glowing in every smile, every delighted expression. As the festival progressed, it was evident that Clara was right. The laughter and joy radiated from Lily's booth like a beacon. Patrons returned again and again to grab more treats and shower praise onto both of them. They sampled carrot cake, delicate pastries infused with spices, and savory dishes that brought together cultures. Even the regular customers who once came to the diner were raving about the bold flavors, embracing memories tied to each bite. With every compliment and funny story shared over the food, Lily transformed from quiet reservation to undeniable confidence. The vibrant faces before her not only appreciated her culinary efforts, they understood and embraced her journey, supporting her newfound passion in ways she had never dreamt. As the festival neared its conclusion, an unexpected guest approached the table, a local restaurant owner with an unmistakable aura of authority. His discerning eyes lit up as they rested on the beautiful arrangements Lily had prepared. "How can I get in touch with you too?" He gestured toward the offerings. "This food is exquisite. I'd love to have you in my establishment. Let's discuss a partnership for ongoing catering." Elated whispers swept among the customers who overheard, arms raised in victory as they celebrated success. Their wild laughter felt rejuvenating, an acknowledgement of how far they had come and the connections forged along the way. Later that evening, as the festival lights began to twinkle and soften, Clara and Lily stood together recalling the day. "Just look at what we've built." Clara beamed, wrapping her arms around Lily in a hug. "You were amazing. All of those smiles, you created those moments." Lily felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. "It's about all of us, Clara. The connections, the community. Every act of kindness led us here. I could not have done this without you." As they packed up and shared secrets of dreams for the future, a gentle snow began to fall, blanketing the streets into a soft canvas. The entire cafe community had come together to celebrate their efforts, lighting candles and sharing food together as they basked in the excitement of what lay ahead. Weeks flew by. Partnerships blossomed, and soon enough, catering opportunities flooded the cafe. The diner had transformed into a culinary hub, a beacon for community gatherings, laughter, and sharing. Lily and Clara employed collaboration to enrich lives through their work, recognizing the immeasurable positivity that kindness brought when shared. That winter, Lily felt an inner contentment like never before. The financial that once loomed over her brightened with each fulfilled contract, rent bills paid, loans reduced, and expenses managed wisely. She reveled in knowing what it meant to love oneself enough to take action, paving the path toward her personal vision. Each smile shared with customers felt like an extension of her being, interwoven with the kindness that rippled through her heart. As springtime approached, Lily's culinary class began offering new topics, dazzling color and joy back into the cafe. The kitchen thrummed with the vibrancy of growth and newfound dreams. Other local chefs and home bakers joined in the initiative, eager to share their skills. Each session bore not only learning but bridging strength into the community fabric that blossomed through the seasons. Lily was no longer merely surviving, she was flourishing with the support of those around her. One particular morning, as she brewed a fresh pot of coffee, she pulled out the box with the coins, the treasures Mr. had gifted her. Such a simple act, but its echoes reached further than she could imagine. Each coin now represented gratitude, hard-earned lessons, and the interconnectedness inherent to their community. She would carry forward that legacy of warmth and kindness, striving to remind everyone that no matter how small an act was, it could change lives. "We're continuing this ripple," she announced one Saturday, glancing around at the familiar faces gathered in their culinary class. "Each of you plays a role in this tapestry of our community. Every dish, every skill shared, together, we create a symphony of flavor that can resonate far beyond this cafe." The air crackled with motivation as they built futures not solely rooted in the momentary indulgences of delicious food but from the heart of every story shared around the table. Even as they came from different backgrounds, they found commonality in their struggles, becoming interconnected veins of hope. Weeks turned into months, and Lily finally decided it was time to embed an even deeper commitment. She sat down one evening, determination guiding her pen as she drafted the plans for a scholarship fund in Mr. Fletcher's name, one that would support aspiring culinary students in their own journeys. She understood the gravity of kind acts fueling future possibilities, acknowledging Mr. Fletcher and countless others whose small gestures of compassion had influenced her life. Her heart swelled at the thought of offering another generation the opportunity to shine, just as she and Clara had once done through kindness. By the time the last snow melted and the world began to blossom in spring hues, the town erupted in warmth, carrying a legacy built on shared laughter, lessons learned, and kindness spread. Lily had truly blossomed into the woman she had always been meant to be and recognized that the beauty of her life could be traced back to the warmth she chose to nurture, as well as the chance that came when she fully accepted Mr. Fletcher's humble gifts. Amidst this body of life, she smiled at the world that surrounded her, knowing every ounce of kindness had woven a pattern that transformed their small diner into something greater, a sanctuary of hope, gratitude, and connection. It was then she realized that kindness was not simply about the other, it was also about oneself. It had the power to light the path toward dreams near and far, and it could build a vibrant community where joy would spread like wildfire, lighting up hearts and lives with every shared moment. Lily had learned this, embraced it, and in turn, she vowed to carry it forward into the world, one act of kindness at a time.